Hello, everyone. Welcome to a brand new episode of the ACA Originals series, where we interview African creatives that are taking over the world, African creatives that are putting Africa on the map, creatives who are doing so well in the industry and repping Africa to the highest level. We've done some amazing episodes previously, and this episode is going to be an amazing one as well. And don't forget to click the plus button and subscribe to our channel for more of these exclusive interviews. Today, we have a special guest. We have an amazing guest. First of all, I'm a fan. He's a talented actor. He has won awards both in Africa and even outside Africa. And today, he's going to be sharing his story as a creator, as a creative in the industry, his journey, how he started, the challenges in the creative industry, and how he was able to navigate these challenges. Today, we have the amazing, the talented Titi Kuti on the ACA Original series. How are you doing today, brother?
I'm doing very well. How are you?
Very good, very good. It's
The
really nice to
introduction was
have you on.
distinctive. I was waiting myself to see who you wanted to introduce, like with the way you were layering it.
Yeah, so it's really nice to have you today. So,
Likewise.
how did this all start for you? Because for me personally, the first time I saw you in a film was King of Boys when you played the role Ade Tiger. That was the first time I saw you in a movie. But most times, it's not always the case as your first time. So, and I believe too, many people must have even thought that many people too must have been the first time they seen you on screen in a movie, right? So, how did this all start for you, and when did it start for you? Tell us a bit of your creative journey, how you started.
Well, if I have to take you back to the very beginning, I'd say that my creative journey professionally started in 2004.
Wow.
Yes, as I started as a model back then. That was the year I got my very first professional gig as the face of MTN. Um, so between 2004 and 2007, I was basically into modeling. So I did most campaigns, um, from billboards to print to TVCs, and of course runways too. I did St. Maurice Style Awards, Benson and H. I did all those shows back then. So I think TVCs was my first introduction to acting on screen, because most of it is acting, just shorter formats. And then from then I transitioned into television. I started working in Nigeria TV back then as a presenter too. Um, so most of all the Project Fame shows, the first ones and stuff, I used to be the presenter that represented Nigeria at the time.
Wow.
I spent about four and a half to 5 years there. I rose to the channel communications director there. And at the time, Nigeria was like the major lifestyle television station that was able to break into the international market through High TV back then. High TV was also the very first cable satellite to break the monopoly of multi-choice. Also, so it was a transitional season for entertainment in Nigeria, and I was in the forefront because I was working with one of the companies that had the very front runner, of that pursuit. So it was when I started working in Nigeria that I, started to go for auditions on the side too. I got my very first acting gig then. That was in 2009, for a show called Emeralds. So I was working in Nigeria as head of production, and I was also acting on screen. Luckily for me, the offices weren't too far from themselves. The office and the sets weren't too far from themselves. Um, and then when I was going to leave Nigeria, I transitioned into other things, mostly behind the scene. At the time, reality format production was just coming to Nigeria. So I think the very first one was West African Idols, and I worked
Wow.
there as an assistant producer. And after that, I stayed in that space for another 4 to 5 years because I did all those reality shows, from Idols to Nigeria's Got Talent to Techno on the Stage, Football Legends Nigeria. So I was pretty much behind the scene for a space of 4 or 5 years. I wasn't even on screen at all. I didn't come back to mainstream television until um, I was commissioned to produce a show for MultiChoice Mnet at the time called Hustle. It was from
Oh,
Hustle that I started to act back, and it wasn't intentional. because I was a producer, but we had some day players on set for one of the episodes that were starting to overreach because they felt we had no option. They got on set, they wanted more money, and I was going to call their bluffs. So usually the format for multi-choice shows then is you have a commissioning editor with you live on set, and then you have the head writer or the assistant head writer with you on set in case you guys need to modify scripts. And that's exactly what we did. We modified their script into one character, and I took the character. So it was surprising because a lot of them hadn't seen me act before. But because I was a producer on the show, all they could say was if this goes left, you are the one that's going to take the phone. I said yes, and the character was so impressive to the channel that they had to retain the character for the rest of the season, and that was the start for me all over again. And then I started going to auditions. Sometimes I'll meet people who come to my own show to audition in other auditions, and they try to throw jabs at me, especially the ones that don't get picked. Like I didn't know be that producer be that. Because remember you like I came for your audition, you didn't pick me, now you are here with us. But I didn't really care, and from there we transitioned. That's funny enough. That's the show that I also met Sholashibo Ali, or not
Wow.
met. Like that was the first time me and her were working together. I was a producer and she was an actor on the show. So it was from then that I auditioned for another show called Palace. Palace is an old series in the early 90s, so they were doing the continuity. So I auditioned and I got the role, incidentally, as Sholashibo Ali's son.
Wow.
So that was our first acting experience. But I think that show aired more in Abuja, not Lagos.
Yeah.
It was more in Abuja. So I've had quite a transition. People remember me in different pockets of experiences, based on when they had seen me. But yes, as you said, King of Boys was pretty much like was the first very big stage that everybody was able to really see what I was able to do on.
Wow, that's really an amazing journey you've had so far as a creator, in Africa. And funny enough, I actually watched Hustle, back
Oh
in the
yeah,
day from the first time. And now, hearing you saying it now, and I remember that actually you were in Hustle, you know.
yes.
So yeah, it's been an amazing journey for you so far, and it all goes to show that sometimes I always tell people that nobody ever blows up, just wake up and just blow up. There has been
Hardly.
like the process. They've come a long way. They have been grinding. You've not been seeing them and everything. So it's been an amazing journey for you so far. So how did you get the breakthrough? How did you get the breakthrough, and how did that all change for you?
Um, I would say when you talk about breakthrough, probably you are referring to popularity or on-screen presence.
Yes.
Because even
Yeah.
before King of Boys, I've been very relevant in the industry, and a lot of people knew me. I knew a lot of people. Most of all the actors that I know now, I've known them from even before King of Boys. So if we're talking about mainstream popularity, yes, I would say King of Boys was the defining moment, and it wasn't something that I planned per se. um I would give credit to Sholashi Bohale to an extent, because she was instrumental. How? She had mentioned about me to Kemi Adetiba. Kemi hadn't seen me act before. So she invited me over to just to visit her on location, not knowing to me that she had planned to introduce me to Kemi. Unfortunately, I couldn't make it the time that she invited me because I was filming MTV Sugar. Yes, at the time, it was around the same time. So they had actually started filming with somebody else as Ade Tiger.
Wow.
So eventually, the day when I was able to make it to go visit her on location, I think they had already shot about 12 scenes. So
Wow.
I got there thinking I was just going to say hello to a friend and colleague, all those things. The next thing, she makes a telephone call, and then 5 minutes later, Kemi Adetiba comes in. And then from their body language, I could tell that there was a precedent to what was
Yeah.
transpiring at that very moment. And so can we just ask a simple question like, do you mind auditioning for a quick script for me? And that's when I hear, okay, something is going on. I said, sure, no problem. And she gave me the script, she gave me the role, and then it was me and her. She was playing the other character. And then we did it. And I think 5 minutes later, she called her brother Remy Adetiba to come into the room. Remy came with a camcorder
Hmm.
that we should do it again. And then we did it again. Cut the long story short, they had to terminate the person who was
Wow.
who was already acting. They had to terminate his contract, and they paid him off that same day. Complete.
Wow.
Yeah, they paid him his complete wage,
Wow.
just for him to
Wow.
step aside so that he can start all over again. And I ended up not going home because Kemi said you have to start working tomorrow. So I told her I needed clothes. I said, well, don't worry, we'll buy you everything you need, but you can't leave now. And that was it. So it wasn't something that I planned or I went for the main audition. No. I went to visit Shola Shibowale on location. They had already started filming. And then I met Kemi and I auditioned again. And then she shut down the production to start all over again, just so she can put me in it.
Wow, that's like an amazing, like it's mind blowing to be very honest. From going on set, not knowing that you are going to even audition for a show as big as that, just wanting to see somebody and just got the opportunity to just star in a movie, and that was one of the biggest movies in Africa. That's really really an amazing journey and a story as well. And I know that from that time onward, you have been just doing back to back. I think I even saw the one with Kunle Afonanya
Anikola
for
Pop, Rise of the Spectre.
yeah, that was also
was my name in the film.
yeah. You killed that one as well. And I think that was the film that you got nominated for the ACAs as a male TV star of the year. So it's been an amazing journey so far. So
Absolutely.
now, talking about the creative industry in Africa now, what would you say is the most exciting and the most challenging part of being a creative in Africa?
Okay, in order of your request, I would say the most exciting part is that the industry has transitioned from what it used to be, and that transition has taken a tremendous leap in the past 10 years. The growth, the scale of growth in the past 10 years compared to the past 30 years up until 10 years ago is a wide margin apart. And now we are able to make films that can compete on the global stage, which opens up more opportunities, more conversations, and much bigger collaborations as far as distribution and reach is concerned. So that is the exciting part. For the challenges, I would still say one of the biggest challenges is still funding, because Nollywood is largely deregulated. It's not an industry that has any government government influence per se or government support. There are no strong guilds. There are guilds, but not as strong as they should be. Or I've learned what guilds should actually be like. Um, you don't have you have very very few um venture capital investment loans and angel investors that want to just invest in the industry for long term. There are a few, but that information is not very accessible to the grassroots filmmaker who just has the idea and needs the financial support. And most producers have to source their funds themselves. So I'll still say it's the funding. The funding is what is limiting the scale of what we are capable of doing now. I would also say that the geographical terrain comes with unique environmental challenges. Like in Nigeria, you can talk about things like power, which is improving, by the way. From my last experience when I came home, the power has improved. Very expensive, but it has improved. Like if you can afford it now, you can be in a place where you can have constant electricity. So things like power. You have things like location issues. Some locations are very volatile. If you want to shoot like in places like Lagos Island, even if you get government permits, you might still encounter some challenges, with area boys and things. But I started filming with all of those. So most of the people that I knew back then who control those areas are still there now, or they know who is there now. So I can still get a pass to film. But it's not going to be something that as an upcoming filmmaker you will find as a palatable experience if you have to deal with a ton of area boys everywhere that you drop your camera on the streets. So those to me are things that you can walk around. Um, we also don't have enough distribution platforms. I know the cinemas are doing their best. They've scaled up 300% in the past 5 years alone. But still, looking at the consuming population, is still largely inadequate. You understand? So it's growing, but it's still you don't have enough platforms to feed 70 million, consuming audience. That's why a platform like YouTube is really catching on now, because a lot of people can have access to it. But unfortunately, you don't have too many. There's a standard of films that go on YouTube that sometimes don't come off as premium as they should be, just because of budget and things like that. So distribution also, I know currently there's like a little bit of friction with most of the international streaming platforms, Netflix and Amazon Prime. Contrary to what people say, they've not left Nigeria. They are still there. They've scaled down their operation and they don't do originals anymore. That's what it is. But still, I strongly believe eventually they are going to come back, because it's a huge market, and the market transcends just Nigeria and Africa. It also directly affects the immigrants in the diaspora that are in huge numbers and also have a very large influence now as a minority. So to me, these are the things that I consider challenges.
Wow. But do you think Africa should now try, because obviously, like you said, now, even in Netflix now, they've even actually scaled down a bit because, of what is going on. But do you think Africa, we Africans, we should build our own platforms?
Yeah, absolutely. Like, I think, if I'm correct, I think Film One is working on something, trying to build, it takes a lot to build a streaming platform. It's not, it takes a lot of money. It requires a lot of data and a lot of back end, technical engineering. So I know there's these guys also that came up circuits. So, but unfortunately, they were not ready for the scale of what they were trying to do, and I think they are.
I think we had Iroko TV at the time as well. Sorry to
Iroko is still operational.
Okay.
Iroko is still operational. Iroko was actually the first to break into the streaming platform. Yeah. So, but now we have a few more that are trying to catch up. Iroko is I wouldn't say Iroko is not expanding beyond the monopoly, but like in North America, I don't think Iroko TV works.
No.
Yeah, so it works mostly in Nigeria. So you're already limiting your reach out, your audience. And there's a ton of Nigerians that watch YouTube films that if they had access to Iroko, they would probably subscribe. And to be fair, Iroko actually has good films. I've seen a number of their films. I watched a couple of them on my last trip, and they do a good job. You can tell that they have a cap budget, but still the turnout is not bad. So I would say we need more of them. If possible, if you can have a unison, a collaboration, it would yield quicker results. Maybe that's the part that we as African creatives need to work on. That individualistic perspective of, oh, I did it first, I did it alone. You have to suppress it, so that the industry, you have to think of the collective growth of the industry and realize the point where you can collaborate for things to go. So if proper collaborations can happen, and then we have proper streaming platforms that have the technical the technical foundation to play on the world stage, it will grow.
Absolutely. I absolutely agree with you. Collaboration is key, actually. So now, what do you think the world needs to understand about African creativity?
I think the world is already understanding African creativity. Like, trust me, all the film festivals I've been to over the past 1 year, most of the people that I have I've had communications with are very curious about Africa, especially Nigeria. The Nigerian market to them, Nollywood is really big. They have keen interest. So I think we have caught the attention of the world. It comes down to what we can do with it and how we can build trust-based relationships that can allow those potential investors to come to Nigeria and give them the security guarantees to inspire them to film. Because that's what's next now. You need to start just the same way in music. There was a time that Nigerian artists having a collaboration with the foreign artists, American artists, was a big thing. But now they are the ones that are looking for. Everybody wants to collaborate with Rema now. Chris Brown literally jumps on every opportunity to collaborate with Davido. So it started from somewhere, and that's the phase where the Nigerian movie industry, the Nigerian filming industry is at the moment.
Yeah.
The curiosity is there. We have tried a few collaborations. There are also producers outside the country that are filming outside the country to create diverse experience and try to set a pathway for what the future of Nollywood is going to be like. And all of that at some point, I think, will come together. If and only if we are open, we are more open to collaboration, sincerely, with sincerity.
Yeah. So now, talking about collaboration with people outside Africa, I interviewed an actress from South Africa 2 months ago on this same platform, and she was talking about the fact that Africans, yes, it's good to collaborate, but she feels like Africans needs to tell their own stories. That she said that she wasn't happy with the fact that you have this production company from America or from abroad, they come to Africa to film, and instead of using most of our African actors here, they'll rather carry like maybe an African American from America who doesn't really know the culture, who doesn't really speak like it to Africa, who doesn't really know the story of Africa to film. So she feels like Africa should be able, they should be utilizing more of our people here than people out there. So I don't know what if you have any comment about that.
Yes, it's true, but you have to look at it from both sides. I mean, there's the creative side of what we do, and there's the finances, there's the marketing. So naturally, a producer coming from abroad is likely getting his funding source from abroad, and the market they are trying to sell to is the market abroad. Take example, a film like Woman King. Africa was the last place it premiered. He went to, and it was a story about the woman. There was only one prominent person that was Nigerian, PJ,
Yeah,
Pastor Jimmy Oduko. He's a pastor now, Jimmy
yeah,
Odukoya, and he didn't audition for the film in Nigeria. He didn't audition
well,
for the film. He wasn't in Nigeria that he auditioned for the film. So I think you have to understand you, the profitability of the actors they bring on board. It's a security guarantee for sales when you have faces that have 50 million followers headlining your film, which is what they most likely did, considering from the profit angle. But at the same time, I think it is because we don't have enough powerhouse producers in Nigeria that have broken the market, or at least created something. Shout out to people like Kunle Afolayan that have sat with, that Anikolapo franchise. It's
yeah,
if you have people like that that can do things on that scale, when those foreign companies want to come on film, they'll be looking for how to collaborate. And I can imagine if maybe someone like Kunle Afolayan was consulted when they wanted to, during the production process of Woman King, what they will have had will have been something much more original. So
true.
it's not enough for us to identify the fact that we are still we are still in the transitional phase. We're not in relegation anymore. But you have to
Yeah,
understand the reason why the guys that come from abroad do what they do. Because first, whoever has given you $40 million for a film is expecting profit back. And what is the
yeah,
guarantee for profit? It means you have to bring Angela Bassett, you have to bring people that first that within the primary market that they operate, the operational markets, first
true.
can guarantee sales. And then whatever comes from Africa or the rest of the world becomes additional. So that's really what happens. That's really
True.
don't hold them responsible for trying to secure their own resources or their own money. The guys on ground here also, if 4 or 5 big producers decide to shoot a film, like how much is 40 $50 million, that 3 4 big producers from Nigeria, South Africa, like 4 African countries decide, look, you know what, we need to make this, we need to make a story this big. There are Nigerian actors that act in Hollywood that you can bring. You
True.
understand? Because we know that they will resonate better. And there are lots of them now. You have Damson Idris, David Oyelowo. You have at least right now about 25 prime actors in Hollywood that are Nigerians. And these guys are accessible as long as you can afford them. And as long as your production process the has the foundational structure to create a process that they can function in, because those guys cannot function at a certain level. You have to come up here with your production level.
True.
You get it? So
True.
I mean, I think we are getting there gradually, but at some point, the necessity for collaboration has never been more evident than right now. So I'm just hoping that eventually the right people will be inspired, to keep it going.
Absolutely, absolutely. I absolutely agree with you for sure. Absolutely. So now let's talk about the ACAs, the Africa Choice Awards. This time last year actually, you were nominated for. I think it was even today. I think it was this date last year.
Has it been
Yeah,
1 year
that
already?
yeah, it's 1 year,
Wow.
and you were nominated for the male TV star category. And April this year, in Lagos, you actually won the award. So tell us that moment, how you felt when you saw the nomination, and also how you felt when you won the trophy.
Yeah, it was great. When I saw the nomination, I had to do some background research and then I realized, okay, I'd actually heard about you guys before. You understand? Because it's not every award that there's some awards that
Yeah,
I think for now, I'm not the person that you're looking for. There are other people that platform will serve better. You
yeah,
get, so I always do research and everything. So when I know these guys, I've known these guys for about 2 years. You get me? So and I'm I saw a couple of your former programs. I saw what you guys stand for. I was able to key into the vision of what you are trying to project, the what you're trying to do with the award itself, as far as the people that you nominate is concerned. And I think it's something not just commendable, it's something that deserves every support as much as possible. The fact that I'm trying to key into the world stage as much as I can. A lot of things that I've been doing in the past 2 to 3 years have mostly been abroad. I think the last film I did in Nigeria was an Ikulaku, which was in 2022 there, but that's when we filmed. So the fact that the things I'm doing abroad are also being recognized, that at least somebody is keeping an eye to see, or to monitor those of us that are trying to push Nollywood on the international front. It was a big thing for me. So, and from the moment I saw what you guys, I already decided I was going to come. As a matter of fact, you guys were probably one of the reasons why I decided. I eventually made up my mind completely. Like, look, it's been a while since I've been home. Let's make the trip. So I was contemplating it, but
yeah.
it keying into that same period that I was contemplating, that was like the final icing on the cake that made me say, you know what, I'm just gonna go. And believe me, it was a classy event. The gathering was very intimate, for lack of a better word. It was very intimate. It felt very original. You could feel the passion of the people who came. Most of the collaborators. The venue was lit. There was a lot of thought process put into the organization and structure of the film. I was exceptionally impressed with the flow. They tried as much as possible to keep to time. Even sometimes when people were still outside, the show had started. So people now have to, like, it wasn't like the usual Nigerian show that's supposed to start by 4. I will start by 7. No, you guys kept the show going, and then people saw that everybody adjusted, everybody went in on time. So it was a beautiful experience all around. I'm happy and proud to have been the recipient of the award. Hopefully, whoever takes the torch from me in the next coming one would also be able to, fly the flag higher.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for the amazing words. And this year now, the seventh edition, which will be made next year, is going to be in South Africa. It's going to be in Johannesburg, South Africa next year. So it's going to be amazing for sure. Again,
Wonderful,
taking
wonderful,
out of
wonderful.
Nigeria to a different country, obviously, it's
Yeah,
going to be
because it is
exciting.
Africa. It's not Nigerian. It's Africa.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
you have to start looking at those opportunities of
yeah,
exploring. So
yeah,
I think it's a brilliant initiative. And if it's
yeah.
it depends on what I'm doing in that season. Definitely, it will be nice to experience you guys once again. So I hope we'll keep fingers crossed and see if it's something
Sure,
I can
sure.
come down for.
We'll definitely send you an invite for sure, definitely. And so, finally, want to leave this interview now with something iconic. So, just something like your final words to your fans and everyone watching you right now.
Okay, so to my fans, I want to say thank you for the support so far. I hope I've been able to live up to your expectations, and I've been able to give you guys experiences across the board with all I do on and off screen. To all the creatives who are watching this, I just want to salute you guys first and encourage you to keep the fire burning. You are going to go. You will be tested in this industry. So the earlier you are able to find your passion, the originality of your passion, the more you have a rooted foundation. So that those times when it becomes testing, you would be able to weather the storm. But the testing would come. Passion, purpose, persistency. Those three things. Just keep the fire burning, and at some point, opportunity will always come.
Wow, nice. Passion, purpose, persistency.
Persistency.
That's like three P's. Nice,
Yes.
nice, nice. Thank you so much, Titi. It was nice to have you on the ACA again, and wish you all the best in your endeavors. You're doing an amazing work. You're putting Africa on the map. Keep doing it. We saw that you won an award recently, I think in
Yeah.
Canada also. Yeah.
There we
So
go.
yes. So congrats on all your hard work, and yeah, keep going.
Thank you.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
Thank you. Bye
All right,
bye.
all right. Take care. Have a wonderful day. All right.
You too.